Bossman, show friend of the show, Coach Mike Morrell, Asheville Bulldogs, out of the Big South, come out win against Hampton, at Hampton, at that. Coach, man, good to talk to you, brother. How you been?
Hey, man, I've been good, man. It's good to see you again.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Coach. I tell you what, man, it's been a great year. With guys playing hard like crazy because all this COVID stuff, man. Getting a win is more than getting the win it was last
Right.
year, man. To
Yeah,
have 5 wins in this year, man, knowing how what's been going on, gotta be feeling good for you and your staff and your players.
yeah, I am. We're 4-2 in the league right now. So we're off to a pretty good start in the league, which at our level, that's really the most important thing. We've been fortunate, man, because we've had the opportunity to play 11 games so far.
Yes, sir.
And like I tell our guys, man, every chance we get to get on the floor, step on the floor this year, we're going to be really grateful and appreciative of it. Because as you know, with as many coaches as you talk to, man, there's a lot of sacrifice from these players and assistant coaches and trainers and everybody this year to get a season. So to get the opportunity to play and then win, that's a doubly good day, my friend.
Yes, indeed, Coach. And I feel like, guys this year are born together because of what you had to go through. Protocols, testing, living a certain way, sacrifices for the good of the team and the university. Because, Coach, as you know, one slip up and everybody can be knocked out for 14, 21 days, depending on what it is. So talk about how the resolve for your guys, man, to go through this, knowing how much it means for the university and the college basketball as a whole. Because on your level, you need that tournament to help pay for everything else.
Yeah, you're exactly right, man. And it's a great point. I tell you one thing that I tell people a lot, because of COVID, you forget. I don't forget as the coach, but I think the average fan can tend to forget, like, the fact that you still have injuries, the fact that you still have other things that, that you got to go through as a team. But because there's been such a focus on COVID, our leading scorer from last year, Devon Baker, who averaged 17 a game for us, has not played yet. And he's still out, and he will be back soon. But, it's just like you got to make do with what you got, and you got to adapt and react to every circumstance. And every thing that occurs within your team is an opportunity to grow. And so we're really trying to focus on that this year. But you're right, man. I mean, this is such a different year. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to try to get more comfortable with that, because as soon as you think you got this thing figured out, like you said, man, it just takes one guy. It just takes one person. And you can't control everything. You try to. So you just really try to focus on the things that you can to the best of your ability and go from there. So that's what we're trying to do here.
And, Coach, like for me, I have insurance, of course. I've had to be like, father figure, brother, mentor, psychiatrist, counselor, all in one. I know for you the same thing, having young kids. So I'm 33 years old. They're 18 to 21 on my insurance. I'm having to teach them about life and be more than what I usually would be to them, more than just their boss or getting them a grade or get my donuts and coffee, right? So I have actually spend more time. It's made me a better man, better leader, and a better boyfriend because of COVID. To me, it's made me a better person, Coach. I don't know how you feel about it. For me, it's made me go outside of myself and grow and be better for my staff, everybody around me.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Again, I think I told somebody the other day, Coach Smart, I worked for Shaka Smart for 8 years, and Coach used to always say, one of his favorite quotes was, the opposite of appreciation is entitlement. And I tell my player, like, any entitlement that I sniff out this year, like, we're not dealing with that. Like, we got too much other stuff that we got to deal with to have to deal with somebody who might not be appreciative of something. I think it's a good lesson for us all, man. I think there's so much to learn about ourselves because, in COVID, as coaches, everything that we're asking our players to do really outside of practice and games is against everything we preach as a coach. Mm-hmm. Stay away from each other, socially distance, don't be around each other. Watch who you're with. Like, that's against everything we preach as coaches. You want your players to bond. You want to, well, again, that's uncomfortable. But this year, it just is the new normal. But hopefully, that new normal will cease to exist at some point.
I got you. Let me ask you this, Coach. Just about the March. My birthday is March 11th, Coach, and I was at the Hawks Knicks game, and of course they got suspended. Right, the next day, March 12th, everything got shut down, and it was like everything. So how was it for you and your stuff going from March having seniors who you couldn't hug and tell bye, guys who you loved and cared about? You never had that team, same team again because of having to go home and leave that environment of Asheville and be in their own environments. How's that for you and your staff and your players, man? That whole March situation when COVID kind of first hit.
It was anxious, man. We actually got a chance to play in our conference tournament, and but we were going to play in one of the postseason tournaments after that. And so, there were a lot of decisions within that first 7-10 days because we didn't know how long this was going to last, to what effect it was going to have. And I don't think anybody would imagine that by the next season, we'd still be dealing with it at that point in time. So you worry, man, what are my guys doing at home? How are they doing? Academically, they've never done anything like this. We've never done remote learning. You have online classes, but that's different. You're talking about a guy being at home, taking classes, without having an opportunity to go to study hall, without having the opportunity to have tutors and things of that nature. And I'm telling you, man, it was always something that you were worried about. But, thankfully, we got our players back about midsummer. But I've also, I've never went that long without seeing the players. And it was almost 4.5, 5 months for some guys before we saw them again. So, I tell you, man, it was something. But again, I think it was another opportunity, like we talked about, to grow. You learn that you don't always have to get together and meet Zooms, and we did a couple things where we bought the team a book. We did some things that we needed to do to stay connected when we weren't together.
Most definitely, Coach. And how was that? With summer going on, all the unrest in our country with the pandemic. So how do you use Zoom to kind of keep your guys and kind of keep them enlightened and help let them share their backgrounds with you more than you already knew? They already know some stuff about your players. And how is that? I feel like a lot of coaches have told me that during the summer, those Zooms kind of brought their guys close together, telling them their backgrounds and helping them understand their players even more than they already knew their players. So how is it for you and your staff and your players getting closer to summer over the Zoom, talking about everything going on in our country?
Yeah, I think what it did is it just made us stop and say, you know what, it's this stuff ain't all about ball, man. And this is not the most important thing. It's really important, and a lot of these guys, it's given them an opportunity to get an education for free. But it provokes some conversations as a head coach. You're 33, I'm 38. Usually when I'm on a radio show, I'm the young guy. So this is for me, man. But, I found it I learned a lot about my players that if some of COVID, if some of the injustice around the country would not have occurred, that maybe we wouldn't have known. And I think for us here at Asheville, I know, again, we took it as an opportunity to grow. And most times in the summer, man, they come in and lift and get a workout.
Yeah.
Not this summer. Spent a lot more time, just calling guys. Hey, how are you doing? Like, what's going on with you, man? Like, how are you doing?
Yes.
Well, I'm good. No, I need more than I'm good. Like, I'm good's not enough. Like, how are you doing? And so over time, it was something that it was a learning experience, but it was good to get them back in person.
Now, Coach, I'll say for me personally, I knew I kind of knew, but I knew how much my show meant to people because people emailed me saying, JR, I thank you for your show and your outlook and keeping up and giving me something to do outside of COVID because, Coach, I host a show, but I don't think about how the impact it has on people. The guys, talking to guys like yourself and Coach Ballard, people who worked around Coach Smart. It's funny how people say all the time, you really helped me through COVID because, Coach, for me, I'm doing service for you guys, man, giving you all a voice. But to see people how the show really helped people get through a bad time, man, it touched me because honestly, Coach, I didn't really realize how much the show meant to people until this year.
Well, hey, it's a reminder for us all, man. And I think, I grew up about an hour away from Asheville, and when I came here from the University of Texas, and Jeremy Ballard and I worked together. Jeremy's my best friend in coaching, and we worked together for 3 years at VCU, and he knows this. Like, a guy who's like my father is an out. He can't come to games right now, and you forget like how special that can be. Our players' parents can't come to games right now. So my hope is on the other end of this, like how special your show is for people, that, these guys understand how special that is that your family gets to watch you play, and that the ball's going to stop bouncing at some point. But I tell you, practice and things that, that nature of game, with all the stuff going on right now, that 2 hours to get in the zone of whatever and kind of let all that other stuff go.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that and am grateful for that more now than I ever was. And honestly, man, I feel a little guilty looking back pre-COVID that I didn't appreciate it more. And we talk about this to our players all the time, but I think sometimes as coaches, we got to look in the mirror and say, hey, man, like, you need this too. And you need a reminder of how special this is.
You got that right, Coach. And I told myself going forward, I'm going to be better about realizing the work I'm doing because, I'm serving a lot of people. And now I realize that now I'm a servant in this role as well. It's not about the Bossman show or JR, whatever. It's about serving the people from Chattanooga to Macon who's listening to this show on a weekly basis and helping you guys get a platform because guys don't cover your team unless something bad happens typically or you win a tournament, And I want to give you guys a voice because it's a lot of great coaches, great stories that don't get heard because you're not a Power 5 school. That's why I use this show to give you all this voice because I feel like so many great stories in the Big South or the SoCon or the A-10 they don't get told because you're not the Power 5. And I want to give you all that voice in this big market of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree with you, man, and especially down your way. And we played at Chattanooga this year. They were undefeated for a large majority, and we had a great game with those guys. But you're right, man. The Big South, the Southern Conference, the Atlantic Sun, there's some special things that happen at our level. And, I was at VCU from 2011 to 2015 before we went to Texas. And it doesn't always have to be the Power 5s, man. Some really good players across the country. Like you said, some really good coaches. There's coaches in our league, man, that take a backseat to nobody. And it's, we're really thankful for your show and the opportunity to help our programs and our leagues.
And you got one tomorrow night, Coach Barkley, man, right about. He's an old head in the SoCon, Charles Southern, man. Tell us about that doubleheader you got coming up tomorrow and Friday, man, at your place, man.
Yeah. I worked for Coach Radebaugh for a year, and I'm really grateful for him. And we had 2 really good games with those guys last year. And so I know it'll be 2 more good ones here. We've been on the road for 6 straight games, man. I've never done that in my life at any level, high school, middle school, anything. So we're really thankful to get back in our own arena. Charleston Southern is an extremely talented team led by Flanders Fleming, who's the preseason player of the year in our league, actually, and from Georgia, and is an extremely talented player. He kind of leads their squad. So we've got our hands full, man. And, again, like you say, like if you can find a way to get a win, it should count twice.
Yes, indeed.
We'll tip it up tomorrow at 4:00. Hope for the best and excited to play.
Now, how's it been playing these back-to-backs, man? I know you split with Hampton this weekend, man. So how is that when you kind of coach against a guy back-to-back? So how's night 2 when guys' legs are maybe going down, and do you throw in a little bit more wrinkles here and there on night 2 that you did night 1? How has that been for you, that chess match there?
Yeah, the first – we've had 3 of those. And the first series we swept High Point, and we had an overtime game in the second game. The next series, we won the first night, lost the second night. And then with Hampton, we lost on a foul at the end of the game, and they made 2 free throws to beat us by 2. And then we had to respond from that, and we're able to respond and get a win the next day. So we've kind of had it all happen in the first 3 series. It's exhausting, but it's the safest way, in my opinion, for us to play. And also at our level, do it in a way that really, I think it really helps our budgets as well. You know, we go on the road, or you get 2 games at home. You play 2 games in 24 hours. It helps with the testing. And it's just the best way and the safest way, which is the most important thing, to play as many games as we possibly can. So we've played 6 league games so far. I think 4 or 5 teams in our league have played 8. So we're mid-January and already have that many games in. And so, you know, I'm thankful for that. Again, it's not comfortable, but it's the best way, in my opinion, for our league to get the most games in and give these guys what they deserve, which is a season. But we got to do it the safest way possible.
Is that something you want to see next year, maybe? A little bit of that, because like I said, save you on the budget. Okay, I got you. Because you know, I was like, some guys say they want it, some don't. Let me ask you, do you want it to stay or you don't? Because I'm like,
man,
I don't know about that.
These back-to-backs, like as a coach, you're exhausted. Like at the end of that second game, you just want to like lay in the floor. I mean, it's exhausting, but I tell you what, you learn a lot about your team. You learn a lot about yourself, their ability to respond. Like I was so proud of our team this past weekend. You know, again, we lost a really tough game the first night, had to turn around and play the very next day at 1:00. And we played well. And a lot of that was due to we were very aggressive, which is what we do on both ends of the floor. So I've really found like the more simple, the better. And just go out there and try to be the aggressors for as long as you can. But no, I would like to go back to the Wednesday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday type of deal. But I'm not complaining. I'm appreciative. No entitlement for this guy, my man.
Hey, Coach, I tell our guys all the time, look at the Atlanta Hawks, team I cover the most. Like, okay, we beat the Knicks. Big time beat the Knicks. Come back the next night against Cleveland, hit a wall in the third quarter and lose the game, blow a 15-point lead. So if that happens to a professional basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks, I can know what happens to a college kids who are not built like they are. So I feel like you do, Coach. Split those games, let the guys recover so they can be good on Saturday or Thursday, Saturday. So not back-to-back. That second night, man, you're asking for an injury. If you be honest with you, because guys are tired and dragging and trying to push through it, and they might push too hard. That push before, and some bad can happen. But I'm glad it's happening for you guys this year, though.
Yeah, that recovery part is really important. Speaking of the Hawks, they got my favorite player in the NBA, man. Favorite by far, not even close. Travion Graham.
Yes, TG.
You know, hey, this is in his Hornets jersey. Travion Graham right here on my desk, man. My favorite player ever.
TG.
I was fortunate enough to coach him for 4 years at VCU and have absolutely nothing to do with him being in the NBA.
Hey, I'll tell him that. Well, I tell you, man, I'm gonna tell him that. Something I talked to you as well.
Oh man, his mom Trina, man. There's no secret why that guy's in the NBA. He's the best, man. He's the best. So. Huge Hawks fan here.
Last one for you, Coach. This. What was your quarantine hobby? Mine was playing the guitar and walking around the neighborhood here. What was your quarantine hobby this year, man?
Yeah, I bought a bike and I started riding my bike a lot. Gotcha. Yeah, I hadn't rode a bike. Well, I couldn't walk for the first 3 or 4 days. But I did. I went to Target right before everything shut down. Bought a helmet. Bought a bike. Everybody's like, "What kind of bike you?" I don't know what kind it is, kind of with 2 wheels that you got to pedal to go anywhere. And, Asheville, man, we got the hills.
Oh, yes, the gorge. So, I know. It's not fun,
Yeah,
man. Nighttime.
yeah, no. Hey, listen, I'm trying to find a way to go downhill both ways, but I ain't found it yet. So,
Yes.
you know, but that was my hobby, man. I would ride the bike. I'd ride it to campus, work out, and so I rode it a lot. Thankfully, we had some good weather here during that time, but that was my hobby, man. And I really enjoyed it. I'm hoping that kicks up again when the good weather hits.
And Coach, next year you got somebody, my good friend Will, just coming to your conference. No, it's funny. I was in school when Will Joseph was GA was Coach Alexander. I was at TSU at the same time, so I've known that guy a long time. See him come away. I knew him as a GA to Coach A. He's gonna be in conference next year, man. He's my friend, but Coach, he's still my guy, man. I'm not gonna cheer against you next year. That's my guy. Trust and believe you on that, man.
Yeah, Will's done a great job there, man. Very deserving of that opportunity he got. I worked with Will at Charleston Southern for a year, man. So I know what type of guy he is, what type of coach he is, and I wish he wasn't coming in the league, but he is. So we'll try to welcome him the right way.
You got that Hazing. He needs that Ricky Hazing for sure. Hey, Coach, thank you for your time as always, buddy. Be safe as always, man. Thank you for your time, and be blessed. And tell your team, man, keep up the good work, man. Keep pounding away, man.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you always having me, brother.
Anytime. Be good now. See you soon, buddy.
Okay, man.
All right.